studio.
1.5 lakh people walked his funeral. That is what he'd earned in life. But he didn't make a lot of money because he never cared for it, right? He was a real life sage and he believed in giving. You want to keep your pain aside and you want to say that, listen, it's a bitter chapter I don't want to address. Let me look at the sweet chapter because it gives you quick dopamine. So, and you're chasing dopamine. Everybody's chasing dopamine from the birth till death, right? Are you allowing your anger to take over you? Or are you just thinking about the emotion, which is anger in that particular time, and making the emotion do the right thing for you? If I wouldn't have been angry at the situation of my family, I wouldn't have been in a position to take those steps which I took to pull them out of poverty. That was the sheer anger.
This is episode number 127 of The Inspiring Talk with Manish Pandey. Welcome back inside yet another episode of The Inspiring Talk. My name is Bijay Gautam. I'm your host for this show. Each week, I interview today's most successful and inspiring personalities to help you realize your inner potential. Very, very excited for my guest for this episode, Manish Pandey. Some of the India's biggest content creators consider him as their mentor. And there's so much that you can learn just in one single conversation with Manish because the perspective that he shares, whether that's on spirituality, whether that's on life, whether that's on content creation, that's very, very empowering. Before recording this interview, we just got on a conversation and we didn't even realize that it was already an hour before we start even hitting the record. There's so much that I have personally learned from Manish in that conversation. In this episode, we are going to talk about working for your need versus greed, building the spirituality to the work that you are doing. We'll also talk about his new title of Bade, Bhaiya at Joe's Talks. We're going to talk about content creation. We're going to talk about new age media. We're going to talk about how do you channelize your anger. And we also talk about meditation and how he keep himself grounded. Some people even consider him as Chanakya of the content creators. This conversation is so deep and there's a lot that we discover and discuss in this episode. It is a very free-flowing conversation. I'm sure you are going to enjoy this. Let's get into this. Manish, thank you so much for joining this.
Hi Vijay. I was so glad to know that our roots match and it was fantastic getting to talk to you and you asked me that do you speak Nepali and things started from there. I'm so happy. I wish we could record it in Nepali.
Yeah, I mean, someday, definitely. That's something that's on my bucket list to do a podcast in Nepali someday. But yeah, great. We had quite a bit. I mean, I think it's already been an hour that we've been talking offline. And now that, we are just talking about this. Manish, I want to start off, now that, you've mentioned about the roots in Nepal. I want to take you back there and, and talk about your childhood there.
Yeah.
And particularly, what you were also mentioning that, hey, my Nanaji was the spiritual consultant to the royal family in Nepal. And, you mentioned that you stayed time there with royalties, with the king's palace in...
I've seen it.
You have seen it. Yeah, you have seen the palace. So, tell us how that, the upbringing in that spiritually, surrounded environments sort of shaped you to become who you are today.
Yeah, so the life in Nepal was very dramatic to put you in that way. Reason that my Nanaji was a highly, highly affluent person, very well connected. However, he never did seek wealth or money. He lived his life like a sage. So we were not rich, but we were very, very connected. My Nanaji built everything on his own for himself. And everybody knew him. I mean, in fact, the day he passed away, in Nepal, in respect, they pulled down the flag.
Oh.
And it was done.
Wow.
1.5 lakh people walked his funeral. That is what he'd earned in life.
Wow.
But he didn't make a lot of money because he never cared for it. Right? He was a real life sage, and he believed in giving. So even if he received money or land, he would just give it away. And he did not give it away to his sons and daughter. He gave it away to people. And that is why he was people's person and he was loved so much. Nepal has a political party called Sadbhavana Party. People who know Nepali would understand. He was founding member of that party.
Oh.
Yeah. So all of that is the pedigree. And that is what I observed and learned. So economically, we were not well to do, but we had a lot of respect in the community. We had a lot of respect in the country. And that is what I grew up. So I grew up seeing values. I grew up seeing, a lot of patriotism. I grew up seeing a lot of ethics. I grew up seeing a lot of knowledge and hunger for knowledge and wisdom and hunger to acquire wisdom. So that is how my childhood had been. I'm so blessed. And I thank God that the days were difficult. It was very difficult. But what I learned, I couldn't have learned that if I had not been in Nepal. So I'm very, very grateful for the kind of childhood that I've had. It was painful. It was traumatic. Many things, because apart from Nanaji, everybody were, I don't want to filter it. They were cruel to me and my mother. We had a lot of trauma. My mother tried killing herself, killing me. 3 times. I tried killing myself a couple of times. I said it was dramatic. So too much drama, but I'm very thankful for whatever it was. Yeah.
So, I can see these two things.
Yeah.
Like for instance, if I look at my own life, we were not very well to do. And when I looked at my own upbringing, one of the things that I always wanted to do is like, hey, you know what, Mom? I have seen my dad work so hard.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I'm not going to work for anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm going to build something on my own. And that is something that I remember, growing up. And I wanted to make a lot of money, so that my family don't have to go through, the pain that we were in, right? And that was the case with you as well. That was one thing that was going where you were struggling financially.
Yeah.
And here's the other aspect, which is the whole spirituality
angle,
where you have seen your Nanaji carrying those values. How it has changed your definition of success, how it has think of what you wanted to do when you grow up. Did you wanted to make a lot of money or,
Yeah. I will put it in a perspective. Yeah. I wanted food with dignity. That's what I wanted. So, and I also was taught the value of need versus greed. And I did not let greed creep into me. So I worked for need. And I knew where to put a full stop or a comma. And that is how I perceive my life. And you've already read about me online, and there are a few podcasts already which kind of tells about my life, right? So I needed a lot of money. I had to, again, like how you pulled your sister's education, I had to pull my sister's education. I had to give my mother and father a house out from the slum, right? So a lot of things were there. But then I knew how much do I require. So I didn't want to shift them from slum directly to a 100 crore bungalow.
True.
All I wanted to give them is a safe living space, which I managed. And that did not want me to become hungry, greedy, kind of a person. So I kept that dignity alive. I kept reminding myself what is my need versus what will turn into a greed. And I sustained it. And I would like to sustain it all my life just that way. So just because I can make 20 lakh rupees a month, I'm not the guy who will go ahead and make 20 lakh rupees a month. I will make how much I need and a little surplus so that, you create an economic balance of life. Emotional satisfaction is what I'm seeking. And when I say emotional satisfaction, it leads somewhere to a lot of mental peace. It leads somewhere to a lot of, when you look into yourself, and when you talk to yourself, what is that you're going to answer? And when I talk to myself, I want to be proud. And nobody but I can define the limit for that. So that is how I live. A little strange, right? I mean, it's very funny. I can make 500 crores in 5 years. Aram se. I have that kind of acumen. I know those kind of people. But I keep reminding myself, do I really want that, or do I want to take that 500 crore and distribute it in the ecosystem in such a way that I create guys who have hunger, passion, who create hundreds of jobs. And that is what I am in the process of doing. I hope I succeed. I don't know, but I'm on the way to do that, right? So that is how I look into my life and look into both the things. See, this is how the amalgamation of both the hunger and my spiritual side. That's what keeps me sane, I guess. Right? Also, one more thing is when you're not greedy and when you don't expect,
things fall in place.
And on top of that, nobody will make you do things that you don't want to do because you want to do what you want to do. And that is it.
True. So, knowing what's enough for you. Right. And I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of us, where we're just running after one thing after another. And this is something that, I often, have the conversation with my parents, right? Just to give an example, we had our house, which the roof was cement sheeted house. And 2-3 years back, we, demolished that and built a concrete house. And obviously, I don't stay there. And my sister is not going to be there for too long. It's only my mom and dad who are going to be there, right? And we built that house. And then my mom and dad came back to me and said that, hey, you know what? Everyone else has this 2-story house. Why don't you send more money so that we can build 2-story house? And then, I often tell them, like, but why do you need 2-story house? I'm not going to be there. My sister's not there. It's only for both of you, right?
Both of you,
like, why do you need that? Like,
status symbol.
Status symbol, right? So I think, but I think knowing when to stop and what's enough for you is one aspect of this. But also at the same time, I have seen people saying that because of which there can be a bit of complacency as well. And this is something that I've started realizing a couple of months back, where I said, hey, you know what? When I was just starting out, I wanted all these things. And now, in a way, I won't say made a lot of money and whatever, but I'm at a place where life is a bit comfortable. I have what I need. Maybe not the things that I want to do. Maybe, I don't need to fly business class, for instance, right? I'm okay, good off with economy. But with that, and this is the recent realization that I started having, like, is that in a way making me complacent in what I want to do next? So how do you keep that hunger alive while knowing that this is enough for me?
That's a very, very nice perspective and a very good question and a very good problem to solve. Like, it's a good algorithm that we should dive in, right? See, a lot of hungry people and a lot of passionate people, and for good reasons, when they will listen to this conversation, they'll say, these guys are just, they're just not ambitious enough, right? But they forget to read between the lines, right? I said, I don't want 500 crore for myself, but I want to build 100 people who will build 500 crore business, because they will give jobs to 5,000 people each. That means 50,000 people, or maybe 5 lakh people will get jobs. I want to be the back end of that, right? Now, coming to complacency and all, I will fly economy, but if you offer me a business class with the right reasons, I will take it. I flew private jets myself, right? I've had an opportunity of taking private jets, going from one place to another, and the entire plane just flying me down, just me alone. I've seen that, and I've been a part. Now, there was a reason behind it. I had to take a 3-hour flight, get down, immediately enter a meeting, finish that meeting in 30 minutes, and come back. Now, that was need of the time. That was need of the situation. And you take that. Tomorrow, I wouldn't mind a business class and booking myself. Forget about the client paying me or anybody who's inviting me paying. I will pay it myself. Reason, I will not travel business class for the status symbol. I will fly business class if I need it. What does business class give you? It gives you comfortable ride, right? It's in the same plane, by the way. It's just that your seats are a little comfortable. You can sleep if you want properly. You are well rested. And when you get down, you go to your meeting and you are performing well in your meeting, right? So there is a purpose behind taking that business class. And I want to live that purpose. So I'm not saying that, oh, no, I'm not going to fly business class. If needed, I will. But then there has to be a purpose. Now I'm flying to Bombay in a couple of days, right? It's a casual trip.
Yeah.
And the guys who are, calling me, they are kind enough to say, "Nee, Manish sir, you have to take a business class." And I denied. And I said, no, Vistara economy is fine. And they were surprised. And I said, listen, I'm coming down. You're already letting me check in a good hotel. I'll be well rested all night. I'll see you next morning. Why do I need a business class?
Yeah.
So this is where the differentiation is. And no offense to anybody who fly private jets and business classes just for the sake of doing it. Why not? They should.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But this is my philosophy. This is my life philosophy. And this is how I want to live my life. Now, you cannot call me complacent for this. Right? So this is the difference. And that does not make me complacent. It makes me aware.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between being complacent and being awareness, right?
And I think that's the key, having that awareness that, why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? And again, when I had that realization that, am I being complacent because, I don't, and it's always about giving that meaning to what you are doing, right? And when you don't have that meaning, like you have ticked the boxes that, whatever you wanted to do as a younger kid, and then you're like, oh, I thought that it's going to take me a lifetime, but I'm whatever 20, 30, whatever it, and I've been like, what's next, right? Yes. And I think always having that purpose is something that really helps. So how do you keep your hunger alive? What pushes you out every, what is that crazy big dream that you have at this
ideas point? Building different things, living my dreams in other people, or living other people's dream. When I say living other people's dream, listening to the dream and saying, hey, can I hold a little share in it? Can I be a mason in this one? Can I put a brick somewhere? Right? So that is how I keep my and it comes to you, right? I mean, when you have this kind of, I'll give you a quick example. Before I came here, I was in a meeting and I called you and I said that I might run a 15-minute late. Somehow I got connected to a fintech founder, 1,500 crore business. Nobody knows about them. They are not mainstream. They have not blown their trumpet on fundraisers and all. They are bootstrapped. One of the bootstrap companies, Zerodha, and Zerodha family. Both the brothers, great job, right? But they have been out there. But these guys, similar kind of thing, but they have not blown their trumpet, so nobody knows about them. And then they said, Manish, we want to create a financial literacy school, and they ran me through values and this and that, and I saw that whole spiritual line in it. And they said that we were not on internet and we were building business, and for a very special reason we were not on the internet. We've built a 1,500 crore business now.
Wow.
I said, wow. And they said, Manish, this is our philosophy and this is what we want to educate. Now we want to come on internet and we want to create a school and we have a budget. So we are not going to, do it for the sake of doing it. We're wise enough. We have a budget. We've already done our research and everything. We are just looking for somebody who can guide. And we thought you would be the right person. And they reached out to me and we had a 20-minute discussion led to 1.5 hour discussion. And because the values matched.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that's my next project, right? I didn't even know that this was there coming for me.
Yeah.
So this is how, and now this will keep me busy. Like when we built Joe Stocks, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, Supriya saw me doing my thing at TEDx Gateway. I was head of social media there. Supriya was 21 then. She was just out of her college.
Yeah.
Very ambitious girl. She's a gold medalist in her college and all. And, she's amazing, right? And she approached and she said, I'm trying to do a company. And I'm like, bachchi hai tu. and I take immense pleasure and immense happiness and pride in saying that I'm so proud of what Supriya, Shobit and everybody at Joe's has built.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so lucky to be a small part of whatever we've built. And it would have been a blunder and a mistake to, look over her and say, I'll come back to you, right? No, I paid attention to it. I think that is the wisdom, that clarity that I had. And I'm so lucky that I am a part of this beautiful organization, right? of whatever we are doing. So I mean, when we do PR and all, it's just, we put Supriya in the forefront. So with our co-founder, he believes being at the back and empowers Supriya to go there. That doesn't mean we all doesn't mean that we all are not in the value chain. We all are, and we all equally are, right? And we have that mutual respect for each other. So in a massive thing that we are building, right? You cannot build it alone. I mean, you have to work as a team. And I don't know how many more projects I'll be a part of, right? Going forward.
True.
So this is how you are busy, and this is how new projects come to you, right? When the time is right, it come to you. You just have to wait. And when the opportunity comes, you identify and don't shut your doors on them. That is also very, very important. So that is the answer to the question, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I could get from that is being open. And if I understood this correctly, what gives you your high is enabling other people live their dream by being part of their journey in whatever way, however you can connect those dots for them, and maybe giving your time, resource, energy, or the network that you've built over the and knowledge, obviously.
Absolutely.
Right. So and I can completely relate to what you are saying, right? As we were talking offline, I told you that, hey, what the thing that really gives me my high is when I teach them something and they go and really do something, share their message and help other people forward. And I think that gives you that happiness that everyone is looking for. At the end of the day, everyone is looking for the happiness, right? So what's your definition of happiness?
Living in the moment, enjoying your sorrow, enjoying your pain, enjoying your happy times, enjoying your joy, enjoying your wins. I think that is happiness. When you are able to feel the pain and let the pain hurt you and embrace that pain and address it and not be bogged down by it, but to process it, I think that is happiness too. Because you are winning over the pain. Being in the moment.
You're not running away from the pain. You are facing
you
and
cannot
going through it.
Yeah, because if not today, tomorrow it will hunt you down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why run away? Embrace it. Embrace it. I mean, kids and young people, they ask me that, Manish sir, guide on meditation and all, and like, what do we do? How do thoughts aate hain and thoughts should not come? I said, it's thoughts' job to come. You cannot say thoughts don't come.
Yeah.
The point is, can you ask the thought to rest?
Yeah.
And can you take over? So that taking over, I think your happiness is always in your hand and control. You are unhappy by choice and you are happy by choice. So make the choice that makes you happy, maybe. That's how I look at happiness.
And oftentimes, a lot of and this is again lately, like I'm thinking a lot and getting more regular to the meditation. I've been on and off meditating for 4 years now, but lately I've been very regular with the meditation, and I'm starting to see that changing. I'm going deeper within myself, asking questions and stuff like that, and the embracing the pain bit, right, where you want to embrace your pain and go through it. Oftentimes I've realized when I'm doing something that I should not be doing, whether when I'm doing maybe, let's say, emotional eating, or maybe, drinking, or whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to find comfort in that because I don't want to face the pain or something that's going on within me.
You want to keep your pain aside. And you want to say that, listen, the bitter chapter I don't want to address. Let me look at the sweet chapter. Because it gives you quick dopamine. Yeah. So, and you're chasing dopamine. Everybody's chasing dopamine from the birth till death, right? I mean, even the childbirth, it's a dopamine hit for the society, for the mother, for the child itself, right? So, I mean, that's what we're going to do. We are just and dopamine is such a stupid thing, according to me, right? Because it makes you a slave, and it makes you do things that you don't want to do.
That's such a
right?
Yeah, I think that's now that's gonna change things for me forever, right?
Yeah.
I've started being more aware of this. Like I'm trying to avoid the pain, and when I'm meditating, and all of a sudden these thoughts come in, and which I don't want to face. And I'm like, okay, it's time to call off the meditation because it's feeling way too uncomfortable. It's feeling way too uncomfortable because I have to deal with all of this. And I'm like, oh wait, all right, this is uncomfortable, but I have to sit through it and then
Make friends with them.
make friends with them and
Yes.
see where it goes.
Yeah.
And the more I started doing, I think I'm sort of pushing myself to face more of it and then embrace it and resolve it, and try and make peace with that so that I don't have to fall back to finding that dopamine or comfort in something else.
Yeah. See, the point is, dopamine is absolutely necessary, right?
Yeah.
But again, are you controlling the dopamine or dopamine is controlling you? That's the question that you have to ask. Don't fall slave to it.
Yeah.
Right? That is, the whole game lies there, right?
I think the question, Manish Bhai, after this, I'm going to ask for myself, maybe for the rest of the life is, am I slave to dopamine?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to all of a sudden bring things.
Like I'll tell you a simple thing.
Yeah.
I eat only 2 meals a day. So I eat my first meal at around 11 o'clock. And then I eat anywhere between 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that is it. And then I see posts, midnight craving, this, that. And I'm like, trust me, you're not hungry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just that you felt like eating. And which is not wrong. It's fine.
Yeah.
But in longer run, it's not healthy. So why do it?
Yeah.
Don't you love your body? Right? Don't you love the entire mechanism that is making you function? Why do you want to confuse your liver 2 o'clock in the night? And why do you want to confuse your stomach, your gut system 2 o'clock in the night, and they start secreting their enzymes, and then they will secrete it half-heartedly, and then whatever you eat is not digested properly, and it becomes it kind of, sometimes it becomes some stone, some liver ailment, sometimes something is happening, and then there is suffering. Be aware about it.
And the best piece of advice that I've received in eating cycle and stuff like that was from one of the guests on the podcast, and what he suggested was, and he was an Ayurvedic doctor who has worked with Deepak Chopra and so on and so forth, and he suggested that, hey, you know what? And I said, like, how do I know that when to eat and how much to eat? And he says, just follow the cycle of a sun.
100%.
If the sun rises in the morning, it's not very bright. It's very, it's just rising. And what that means is you have a lighter breakfast. If you want to have a breakfast, have a lighter breakfast because the sun
fruits.
Some fruits. Right. And during the mid of the day, like 11, 12, is when the sun is the brightest. That's when you have the heaviest meal. Right. At the biggest meal, during that time, 11, 12. And during the evening, 5, 6, again, the sun is just setting, going down, right? It's setting, and that means have a lighter dinner. Just follow that cycle, and even if you want to have 3 meals, then that's it. And I'm like, wow, I wish somebody told me in the simple way where I could just remember this forever.
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do. So when I say that I don't eat after sunset, people don't really get it. What is the logic behind not eating after the sunset? But then I don't get into nitty-gritties of explaining this because not everybody gets it. And whoever is more interested will reach out again, right? And then you explain it to them.
And the way I look at it is, when you are going outside, let's say you are going out and partying till late of the night, and then you come home at 2 in the morning. Everyone in the family is asleep, and then you ring that bell, you wake them up. And you are disturbing the whole family because you just went out, and that's exactly what you are doing to your body.
Exactly.
Your body starts sleeping.
Your body will not like you for doing that.
Absolutely. Right. So
wish the liver could speak.
Wish the liver could speak, right? And 10 to 11 p.m. is when your liver stops producing
enzymes.
And the same goes with your body prepares for the resting. And then here you are saying that, okay, take this another big load of diet at 11 in the night, and you are making them overwork. Awesome. I'm loving this conversation, Manish Bhai. Tell me one thing. You are so wise.
I mean, I'm humbled. Okay.
You're so wise. How do you learn? How do you gather information and then organize? How do you do that? How do you what's your way of gaining insights? Do you read? Do you watch? Do you just get insight from conversation, or do you get by observing? What's your way of learning?
So there are 2 ways to answer it. One, somehow, I don't know, by luck or by design, So I hung out with my grandfather, my nana, and then I couldn't hang out with my school friends. Then I hung out with my nana's friends and be a part of their conversation. So I always had this positive hunger of hanging out with people who are way wiser than me and be the fly on the wall, not speak, just listen, absorb, be the sponge, not comment, just be there, listen like a kid. And I think that's stuck with me. So I always look to hang out with people who have way more knowledgeable than me. Now that does not define by age. Now I hang out with kids who are 17 and 16 while I'm 33 now, and they teach me so much. And then I also add a little bit of value. So one of the answer to the question is you hang out with wiser people than you. Don't be the wiser people
Wisest
person
in the room.
in the room always, right? There is a time for that also, and then like this podcast, maybe it will inspire a lot of people, and maybe they will take some decisions. I mean, we can hope for that. Another way of looking at it is, now I cannot hang out with Bill Gates, but I can read his books.
Yeah.
I cannot hang out with Elon Musk, but I can watch and listen to his podcasts and all the. So you find your way of hanging out with people. So I hang out around books a lot. I hang out around podcasts and videos a lot. I spend time talking to people. Like at Joe Talks, we have over 2,000 talks now across all the languages. Imagine.
Yeah. The amount of
listening to
wisdom there.
2,000 stories and learning from 2,000 people
Yeah.
in a capsule, like in a 20-minute capsule,
Yeah.
right? So this is how I keep my learning alive, and I think it's going to be a lifelong process.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of perspective, right? And by the way, whatever philosophy I'm talking today might change tomorrow. We really
We're constantly evolving.
Yeah, we constantly evolving.
Yeah.
What I'm calling worthless today will be a worthwhile tomorrow, right? So I keep myself open. I constantly try that I don't have a wall of rigidity around me, so that I embrace. I love people who criticize me. I really love people who criticize me because they give me an opportunity to look beyond what I'm able to see. And then if the criticism is constructive, you embrace. And if the criticism is just from the jealousy or that envious point of view, you ignore and you move on. Right? So this is how I keep my curiosity on. And very good friend of mine, Varun Dugirala, wrote a book. It came yesterday, and I just couldn't keep it down. I finished it in the night, right? And I messaged him today, and I said, like, dude, what a brilliant thing. So that is how you do things, right? And that is how you keep your curiosity alive.
Yeah.
I think if anybody wants to become something, they should be curious. So that is how I deal with that.
I think that's beautifully put, because following curiosity can be one of the biggest, skill, if I can say so.
But curiosity
in the right direction,
in the right things, and on top of that, with a lot of awareness, right? Because like, just because you're curious, you do not enter a lab. Otherwise, you will create one type of thing, right? Yeah. So yeah,
this is amazing. So I was going through a lot of things that people have used to sort of introduce you. Some people would say head of growth and culture at Josh. That's the role that you take on. Mentor to a lot of,
By the way, I changed my LinkedIn today.
Oh,
and I wrote Bade Bhaiya at Josh Talks. And I discussed that with Mitul, who's our head of communications officially. And, I told Mitul, it was a conversation yesterday, by the way. Me, Supriya, and Mitul, we were discussing designations, right? And how should we project? I mean, the operational thing. And I said, hey guys, can I write Bade Bhaiya at Josh Talks? And Mitul's like, that's what you should actually write, because that's what you are to us. And I actually went and changed it to Bade Bhaiya at Josh Talks.
Yeah.
So that's what my LinkedIn says now.
So you are Bade Bhaiya to Josh Talks and stuff. But I think what the apt, I think it was one of the events where they called you the Chanakya for creators.
Yeah, and that was so embarrassing because that's such a big thing to be called, right? And it as they say, right? with power come responsibility,
Mhm.
you know, and all of that, right?
Mm.
And I told them that, guys, can you edit this, you know, I think it's not yet. I'm not there yet.
But you're doing, a lot of stuff in that direction, which, where I've also seen a lot of people come down on your conversations with other folks and say that, hey, you know what, I had this one conversation with Manish when I
Yes.
just had 50,000, followers, and,
Yeah.
I now have 200,000 to 50,000 followers. I wish I can, just
Yeah.
thank him.
Yeah.
And, and there are so many of those stories that have started coming out where, Manish has really helped us change the way we have been thinking about this game. So, what is the fundamental thing that you think content creators need to understand? And the reason I ask this is sooner or later, everyone is going to have to create some sort of content if they want to build their personal brand.
100% yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what are the fundamental? I'm not saying from the tactical perspective you should do this or that, but from the mindset perspective, like what is the biggest thing that you see a lot of content creators don't understand, and what is it the fundamental switch that need to happen on their head?
Okay. First thing that everybody should understand, and you very rightly put that eventually everybody will be a content creator, and they are in some way. Well, some people will pick it up as to make their personal brand and be a voice, you know, a bigger voice than anybody else. The first thing that should keep in mind that it is going to be an organic process. So do not try to grow inorganically. Do everything organic because it is going to be sustainable, long term, and people are going to know you for who you are. Before hitting on that follow button or subscribe button, they will test you out. They will see what value are you adding to their life in whichever form, right? So have patience, keep doing, keep giving before you want anything, right? Let us talk some technical stuff so that anybody who's kind of listening to this can actually apply and not just from a philosophical point of view. Be absolutely consistent, know your niche, make sure that you master the subject that you are speaking online. Don't be an empty vessel sound much kind of a person, because your bullshit will be caught. And then once the trust is gone, nobody's going to come back to follow. And then you will do inorganic stuff to gain followers or subscribers or whatever. Believe in the process. Keep evolving yourself. When I say keep evolving yourself, make sure that your production quality goes up and up and up with time.
Yep.
When you're making money or when you start to make money, reinvest in your content. Get better equipments with time. Be open to ideas, collaborate, don't compete, reach out to experts, hire people, get your team, don't be a solo player, don't compare your content with anybody else. You have your own niche, define your need, define your greed, make sure that you're not getting greedy, but at the same time, be hungry. Be hungry for growth, but not at the cost of losing relationships. So these are some of the substantial things that should be the base of your content creation journey.
And also understand this is a long game that you're playing.
Yes. And if you are not getting views on all of that after you have done a lot of hard work, then reach out to me. I'll help you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and I have interacted with, quite a few people who are creating content and stuff like that. And one of the things, and you mentioned about like, stop comparing yourself with someone else's content and someone else's, success, or, the way the people are growing up, right? So put things in perspective for us. When you are a content creator and when you are consuming a lot of content and seeing a lot of other people do some amazing stuff out there, and you know that you are capable of doing some amazing stuff. You know that you can do that, but you are not, for whatever reason, you are not doing that or whatever, right? People might have their own sort of challenges or excuses or whatever that is, right? And then eventually they're like, hey, you know what? The self-doubt starts coming in, where you start doubting yourself. And, when you start doubting yourself is when your creativity start, going down
the drain.
Not happy within. So, how does one deal with the pressure that you feel from when you are out there online, consuming a lot of people and seeing a lot of good stuff?
I think the pressure only comes when you start comparing again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ki 5 million subscriber and I have 300k subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Or I have 10,000 subscribers and the other person reached a million already, right? And we both started together, by the way, right? My point is, what are the 20 things that they cracked, which you were not able to crack? Why don't you do a biopsy for that rather than, kind of beating your head on the wall saying, they've just gone and got numbers and I have not, and I'm equally working hard. No, you're not.
Yeah.
There are 20 things that person did which you didn't do.
Yeah.
And you need to find out that. What looks like an overnight success for content creators or for people is nothing less than 1,000 days hard work.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And 1,000 days what? Like 2.5 years?
True.
More, 3 years actually. 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's what you should focus on rather than being jealous or trying to beat your head because it's not going to help you.
Yeah. Take some action.
Decode.
Yeah.
Sit down, settle.
Yeah.
They say that the tiger takes 5 steps back before it has to pounce. Right? And when it pounces, that's the leap of faith that it takes, that it's going to hunt the food. Right? 10 out of 9 times it fails. But it does not stop pouncing, right? So yeah, that is how you should look into it. Take example from nature and take example from. Settle down, dissect, reach out to experts. Don't be that no, I'm gonna figure it out myself type of a thing, right?
Yeah. So, and one of the things that sort of changed my own perspective and put that long-term thinking in my head is somebody used this analysis of saying that hey, you need to be clear on either you are a hunter or you are a farmer.
Yeah.
And if you are a hunter, then what you're looking at, you are going out there hunting and getting the results today, right now.
This one is gonna convert into a Yuval Noah Harari podcast now.
Yeah. So, or you are a farmer.
Yeah.
When you are doing farming, then you know that you are not going to get anything tomorrow morning. If you plant the seed today, you have to nurture it, let it grow, and then it's going to take months, year. And then when it happens, then you have way more than that you would ever need or you'd have ever wanted. Then that sort of put things in perspective. For me, and that's something that I keep on telling myself. Hey, you know what? I'm here for the long game, and I'm a farmer. I intend to create something meaningful.
Yeah, look at it: sustainable, non-sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And again, do what is the need of the time.
Yeah.
Well, hunting is also important.
Yeah.
And farming is also important.
Yeah.
The key is in creating balance. Right? So, if the situation asks you to hunt, please hunt.
Yeah.
And if the situation asks you to farm or gives you an opportunity that you can farm, then don't be complacent in just hunting and saying, hey, quick food and, like that. So creating that balance is what makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That is what will make sense.
Yeah, I think that's greatly put, right? Hunting and farming, that's amazing. So where you see the whole creator economy, because this is where we'll start seeing more entrepreneurs being created, because what this economy enables everyone to own a piece of business, right? And where do you see this sort of going, and what are the kind of things that people should know at scale, like the people who are just starting out, or the people who maybe have been creating content for a while but maybe don't have that sort of things coming in right now where they should be paying attention to?
Vijay, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
When did print media start?
It's been forever.
Yeah, right? Today, consider creator economy as print media, and it is starting today. A long way to go.
Wow.
Right? It will have its own course, path, journey, transformation, hiccups, leaps, downs, everything is going to be magical. It's here to stay. By the way, people keep asking me that print versus electronic versus digital, what do you think? I said none of the ships are going to sink. They will all sail. They will have their different course. They will go in all different directions in the sea. The sea remains the same, right? So creator economy is just begun. It's not even a decade old. And we are talking too much about it already. We need to stop talking about it and start doing. Right? Or create a balance between talking and doing. It's there to stay. And it will stay for longer. And I was talking to somebody today afternoon, and I was saying, I was actually giving a talk somewhere in an event. It was all by very senior journalists and mass media people, and I was the youngest in the lot. And I was intimidated by the kind of panel I was a part of. But then I with all my with humbleness, and I said I'll put my points, and thank God they applauded and they agreed. And I said that it's going to stay. Believe it or not, you cannot deny. It's there. It's come. It's going to be a new animal in the ecosystem of jungle. And I told that just watch out for maybe a decade's time. There will be 20, if not 100, content creators with 100 million subscribers on YouTube from India. And it's going to happen. We are moving with 5x faster speed than what West did with content. And both blessing and boon of the Indian subcontinent is people. We have a lot of them. And they are coming on internet as fast as they can. So creator economy is to stay. And everybody will have a piece of this particular cake.
And it's getting bigger and bigger.
It's bigger and bigger, right? So there will be 500 more talent management companies because there will be 5 lakh more creators. Right?
Absolutely.
And whatever top talent management companies that you see today might not exist in 5 years because there will be ones who will come and take over and buy out and whatnot, right? So magical times ahead, bro.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this question. What do you say to people? Manish, I want to create content. I want to create content in XYZ topic, but you know what my problem is? Whatever I want to share, whatever I want to do, everything is said and done. What new I can bring on the table?
Well, everything is said and done already. But still science is able to discover new things and put it into perspective. New diseases are coming out, new vaccines are coming out. Apply the same logic here. Say it in a new way. Say it in a more interesting way.
More relatable way.
Right? Mutual fund sahi hai, right? This is what you hear about mutual fund. And we thought, oh, that's the end. This is the final message. But then you see how many more mutual fund companies came and brought the narrative in a different way and became unicorns and whatnot. Right? So my point is, well, everything is said and done already. Bhagavad Gita has been sent and everything is in the book. That doesn't mean that the thing's philosophy has not come out, right? It's come out, right? So my point is, while you are saying all of those things, that means you are giving yourself an excuse to not create. So please find a job. Or start creating content. Or work for somebody who's creating content, right?
So that you can learn more.
So that's the point, I guess. When you say that whatever I want to do is already been done, you're just giving me an excuse. I mean, I would not like to talk to that person again.
Perfectionism. That's
it's a myth.
Other thing.
It's a myth. According to me, it's a myth. Nothing can ever be perfect. Because look at our life. We evolve every day. Cells are born, cells die. Tissues are born, tissues die. Red blood cells has a shelf life of 120 days. Look at your body. Look at the nature. What is perfect? Summer comes, the rivers become small. Rainy season comes, the river becomes so broad and they flood. Right? Are rivers perfect? No. Are mountains perfect? No. How can anything be perfect? I think we should just be open to evolution. And that is the real crux of it. So that is what one should aim for. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for change,
getting better,
aim for change, embrace change. And I have a very radical way of looking at it. People will dismiss me for this, right? But dismiss me, I don't care. I can never be perfect.
Yeah.
I can never be perfect. If you scan through 20 tweets of mine, you will spot at least 5 spelling mistakes, 3 grammatical errors, and I'm fine with that because that is who I am.
Yeah.
Right? But I go back and correct it if I see it myself.
Yeah.
But that is who I am. I cannot be perfect. And accept me or move on.
Move on. Yeah.
That is how you should be in your life, I guess. Because when you are becoming perfect, 90% of the times you are doing it for others, not for yourself.
Not for yourself.
Then where is the fun? The world starts disliking you when you start living your own life. But let them dislike. You are not born to please others.
But there are so many people who can relate to your story, to who you are, and to who you are is you are.
Yeah.
And which
because
brings,
authenticity will put you out there.
Yeah.
In the most vulnerable way. And the world is vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is how I look at it. And the point with perfection is once you become perfectionist, you want to replicate that every time.
Yeah. So true.
Right?
So true. You have to put that face all the time.
All the time.
That I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm perfect.
And this is my benchmark.
This is my benchmark. Yeah.
But not everything is supposed to be in the same fashion.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, let us take an example of, art, right? Art form. Let us consider an opera. What is a perfect opera? Can you compare 2 opera neck to neck and say which one is perfect? All of them are perfect and all of them are imperfect.
Yeah.
Take that example and put it anywhere. Which company is perfect?
Yeah. And oftentimes, Manish, I take an example. It's like I ask people, do you guys think iPhone 13 is perfect? The latest Apple phone that's out in the market. People are like, I don't think so. Then how come on earth the number 1 technology company in the world have the guts to put out the imperfect phone? Exactly. Knowing that there are going to be 5 other features they are going to be putting in iPhone 14.
Yeah. Evolution.
Evolution, right?
Yeah. So that's why I say perfectionism is a myth. And many people are happy living that myth. Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you mentioned about, vulnerability and authenticity. And for me, at least, it has been a journey to embrace who I am and start putting them out. And now, when I share the story, I have always seen that people resonate with that story, relate with that story, and feel like, oh, you know what, I can connect to this story. And, and as content creator as well. And also normally when you are not trying to put a face out there, when you are not trying to be someone that you are not, I think in my experience, the more I have embraced who I am and expressed my story the way I am, I have felt more happier. All of a sudden, the pressure just went off because I don't have to appear to be the perfect guy out there. Like I have my flaws. And I'm happy to admit that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, these are my flaws, and often laugh about them. That's okay, right? Where I can improve
and laugh about them with others.
Laugh about them with the others, right? And and when I had this understanding, it just completely helped me. It helped me to embrace others as well, because I know that if I'm not perfect, the other person is not perfect either. We all have fair share of our own flaws or imperfections. And one of the things that helped me a lot, the question that often helped me is like, hey, sometimes when I feel that, hey, you know what, I wish I had what this person had, like this aspect of what this person had. And the question that I ask myself is, do you want the whole of it? Right? So if Manish is such a wise person, I can't just wish that I had just Manish's wisdom. Am I ready to get like whole of Manish with the flaws that he has?
Yeah. Like I'm very, I get pissed off very, very, I have a very short temper.
Yeah. So
right?
do you want that as well?
Yeah.
Right? That is something that you need to sort of ask yourself. Like, am I open to take whole of it,
Yeah.
right? Not
Yeah.
you just can't take part of
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
So now that you have mentioned about short
Yeah, I
temper,
keep telling people I have Ram and I have Parshuram both in me. Right? So you want Ram?
yeah,
Well, you gonna get the Parshuram as
Parshuram as
well.
well.
Yeah.
Right? So you just can't say, just give me Ram.
No. Yeah.
You know, so, and oftentimes the answer, you know, for myself, when I say, do I want the whole of it? The
Yeah.
answer is no. Then you are better off not having that as well.
Right.
So now that you have mentioned about short temperedness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have, you know, shared earlier spoken about channelizing your anger
Yeah.
into better things. Talk a bit about that. Like, how can someone channelize the anger and maybe, you know, use that energy in something better?
I mean, see, again, like how we spoke about dopamine, right?
Mm.
Are you allowing your anger to take over you?
Mm.
Or are you just thinking about the emotion, which is anger in that particular time,
Mm.
and making the emotion do the right thing for you? If I wouldn't have been angry at the situation of my family,
Mm.
I wouldn't have
Take
been
action.
in a position to take those steps which I took to pull them out of poverty. That was the sheer anger of when I came to India from Nepal, and when I started living with my father, and we used to live in the slum, and I had to queue up in a line to take a dump in the morning, and I used to be angry. And I was like, this is not life. I mean, okay, this is life, but this is not what I want to live. It's waste of time. I can do much more with my time than standing in a queue to take a dump. And many a times I used to run in the kit. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to change this
Yeah.
when I grow up. And I used to be angry. Well, that anger led me to work hard and do the right things to get myself and my parents a house with our own toilet. Well, this is what anger can make you do. I did not use my anger to go and break other people's toilet. I used to build my own toilet, right?
Yeah.
So this is how you channelize your anger.
Yeah.
And that is why you should let anger be in you, but control your anger and channelize it. Like put it for the right set of things. So I think this is one of the basic examples that I can give. And now take it and apply it in your life in various situations, right? You sometimes get angry on people. Well, you don't get angry on people. You get angry on the situation that the people put you. So you are angry on that situation.
Yeah.
Analyze that situation. Everybody has priorities of life, right? And sometimes they choose the priority which does not match with your priority. And then is when the balance goes off, right? Be angry. Always be angry.
Yeah.
But then ask the reason of the anger and solve it. That is in your hand.
Yeah.
So do what is in your hand. Don't do what is not in your hand. As simple as that.
Yeah.
Right. So this is how I channelize things.
Super. What inspires you to do everything that you do?
The very reason that we are alive, the very reason that we are born as humans, the very reason that we are different than other animals in the ecosystem, that we have a little more wisdom than other animals in the ecosystem. Your entire lookout is very developmental. Your entire lookout is of a community. So you're living the dharma that you are born for.
Yeah.
That is what inspires me. What inspires me is people are doing so many things, right? And can you just be along with them and walk with them and try and be a part of magical stuff, right? Last year when the second wave of COVID hit, I could have just packed my bag and gone to any forest and silently be with some of my friends who are in forest doing work there. But I chose not to. And I said, listen, I'm going to be a part of solving this entire crisis. And I did what I did, right? And I helped with my friends and we created that COVID resources and we worked hard and we did whatever we could. And so many people as a collective came together and worked. And I was in trauma after the wave went down and I went to the lowest phase of my life and I was questioning my own self and a lot of things, and I was mentally weak and depressed and all that sort, right? And there were a couple of friends who helped me in the situation, Supriya being one, and all of that, right? And so my point is, again, something happened and it said, hey, come back, let's get back.
Yeah.
But I took my time, right? So yeah, I mean, what inspires anybody is, I think positive hunger of doing new things in life. That's what keeps me inspired. And you don't have to be inspired all the time, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, you don't have to be hungry and hustle all the time.
Yeah.
But
it's okay. Some days just
sometimes just sleep
under
off
the blanket and
just sleep off sometimes.
Sleep off, and and I think the whole scene of putting your perfect face out there puts you immense pressure that you have
100%.
to always be there performing at top.
Look at the film industry.
So,
look at the film industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what's going in
Their
that
life.
actor or actress's life, but they have to go and smile in front of the camera and put out their smiling face, which they don't want to, but they are doing their job.
Huge pressure.
It's a difficult task. Difficult task, and I'm fortunate enough to have a few friends who are actors and actresses and at a very recognizable level. And you know what? Their best times are in the house when we are not wearing those makeup and the fancy clothes, and we are in pajamas and we are just drinking chai and coffee, and and laughing and not clicking selfies and photos and putting out on social media. I think that's the best time that they have in life. After a point of time, they're done with the glamour. But then again, they have to go back to their office tomorrow, which is same camera, media, all of that, right? And I asked them as well, I mean, what inspires you to go in front of the camera? It's so taxing, man. And they said that, listen, this is our karma. And then, then we go to that whole tangent of speaking and understanding and also. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to be inspired all the time, but being inspired is important. So yeah, I mean, find your ways.
What is the one lesson that you wish you had learned earlier in your life?
Practically, I wish somebody would have caught my ear and taught me investment.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even understand the concept of FD. Forget about stocks and other things. Right? Practically that. And my Nanaji kept telling, it will all be fine. And somehow I did not hear that or listen to that. I wish I would have listened to that. Then I would have stressed myself a little less. I have been too hard on myself. I wish I was not too hard on myself. I'm learning not to be hard on myself now. And it is not late. But in the process, I really missed a lot of beautiful days, Yeah, I mean, I wish I was not too hard on myself while I was growing up and in my early phase of career. I mean, there were times I worked 3 jobs. That was not necessary. I just did because I was a little scared and insecure that, you know what, maybe tomorrow some new kharcha will come and I will not have enough to kind of give it. And I've promised my father that I will not let him borrow any money from anybody. So I will have to have a little extra so that if he needs it, I will be the one to give him. And so that he does not have to go to his friend and ask for that 500 rupees and get humiliated. So that was the construct, bro. So, but then I could have done without that as well. I wish I could have created that balance a little bit. But nevertheless, I mean, that's how life is, right?
So what do you tell yourself now when you start feeling that kind of pressure?
It's okay. It'll be figured out. Chill. You don't have to solve all the problem in the world. I don't have to solve everything in the world. Few things other people will solve. So I will just solve what I can solve. That is it. I don't take life seriously anymore. I take it sincerely.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you read a lot?
Not a lot, but yes, I read. Not a lot, but read. I don't know what is reading a lot means, but I read. I mean, I'm a voracious reader. Yes, I am. Yeah, I read quite a few books.
What are a few books that have left a huge impact?
And I've been telling everywhere, and I want to keep reminding myself. I want to start reading fiction now. I was on Chalachitra talks a few days ago, and I was talking to very dynamic Vaibhav and Vani. I looked through their channels, and I'm a part of their WhatsApp group now. I mean, I want to read fiction, man.
That's something that's on my list as well.
Yeah,
I've always said, if you want to read, then read meaningful. And I'm now realizing that hey, you know what? I could have read
Hamara
fiction
cut
as well. That's true.
Yeah, you should. I want to read fiction. So 2022, I want to read, if not a lot, 2-3 fiction books. Yeah.
You also now published a book.
Oh yeah, co-authored a book.
Co-authored a book.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, Booming Digital Stars is what it is called. It's an attempt to create a blueprint for creators who want to go out there and use social media platforms and create content and make a name, fame, money for themselves. So we've picked 11 stories which we found very interesting and had a lot of anecdotes, and we had a checklist. So whichever stories ticked on all the check boxes, we have those stories. Well, we wanted to do 25, by the way, but we have 11. Reason, few of the creators were busy and for the right reasons, and they could not reach back to us, and it was back and forth. And few of them thought maybe they were too big to reply to us. So yeah, even that. So we went ahead with 11, and definitely we are going to do a part 2 of it.
Okay.
That is how the book shaped. Yeah. It's a humble attempt to create a blueprint. Who can benefit out of the book is young content creators who want to create. Yeah. Because all the 11 stories are immensely inspiring, and the entire journey is being covered.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Even the manager's story is there, and how other people who are behind the camera and behind the scenes, and everybody, we've spoken to everybody, and everybody's story is there. So not just the stars, but the guys who made the star is also there.
Yeah.
Another, it's a good and quick read for all the brand managers out there. Spend your money in this industry. give your money to creator economy and creators, right?
Yeah.
So it's for them. Yeah. And anybody who loves stories. So it's a storybook.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. I'll link that up on the description of this episode for everyone, and I can't recommend that enough. If you fall on these audience categories, like if you are a creator or an aspiring one, or if you are a brand manager, or generally if you want to understand the whole creator economy and you want to, there's a lot of inspiration in each of those stories. Like,
there's so much struggle.
There's so much struggle. The amount of work that every single person that I've featured there. Yeah. And also it put things in perspective, right? Where you might say that, hey, you know what, this guy all of a sudden is, has this 10 million follower, 20 million follower. Then when you go and read the stories, then you would realize the amount of pressure, the amount of work that they have put in to be where they are. And
they all started with a 0 follower.
With 0 follower. Everybody started with 0 following, right? Nobody
was given an account with lakh follower already.
Nobody was given an account with a lakh follower already. Yes, absolutely. So Manish, what was that one wrong belief about yourself that you've held for the longest period of time about yourself?
Well, there are many, but when you said one, I'm going to tell you the most important one on which I've worked is that if I'm not serious enough, I will not figure it out. Then I later figured out, hey, I needed to be sincere, not serious. So I stopped taking myself seriously. And I started becoming sincere in everything that I was doing and I'm doing. So yeah, that is what. As I said, I was too hard on myself. That was a wrong belief that if I'm not serious, things will fall apart. And, and I think I was that because of situations and circumstances. So I don't blame myself or the situation, but I wish somebody could have told. So if anybody out there trying to become a lot serious, please be sincere. Be a little less serious.
Yeah. Things will fall on its own place.
Yeah, it will. Vijay, we forget to kind of live the fact that we are all going to live a long, long life, right? If not more, at least 60, 70 years. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time. You don't have to figure it out everything today, tonight. Give it time. Yeah.
Manish, I have one last question, that I want to ask you before we wrap this up. Imagine that you're standing on a stadium. And this is the largest stadium that has ever been built in the history of the world.
Okay.
And there are millions and millions of people in that stadium. eagerly, passionately waiting to listen to you
Wow.
and your story. To you,
Uh-huh.
okay? And you are there on a stage, and you have been given only 1 minute of the time
Mm-hmm.
to share
Mm-hmm.
the most important lesson that you have learned in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your message?
I would say take it easy. I would not even use those 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say take it easy. Everything will fall in place.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the right thing. And don't say no to hard work. That's all I want to say. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
That is it.
Awesome. I can clearly see that we can go on and on, Manish,
Yes.
but it has been such an insightful, enriching conversation, and what a great pleasure in meeting you and having this conversation. And I would like to take a moment to acknowledge you, Manish, for doing everything that you are doing to empower others, to help them, realize their dreams and connect those dots for them. Really appreciate everything that you are doing, brother, and wish you all the best with everything that you are doing. And thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Thank you so much, Vijay, for inviting me. And there was some wisdom in me that I replied to you and said, ki, okay, yeah, let's talk. So thank God from wherever that wisdom came in. And, let us steal a line from Om Shanti Om say and picture abhi baki hai mere dost.
Thank you so much for listening to this conversation with Manish Pandey. I hope you have learned a lot or got some inspiration from this conversation. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your Instagram story. And don't forget to tag me @Bijay Speaks and Manish @Join2Manish. We would love to know what you think about this. And also you can find the resources mentioned in this episode at theinspiringtalk.com/127.